Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Mod Driven. Let's talk about the Honda Civic wing, the spoiler, I like to call it, a trunk spoiler, that I added to the Honda Civic. I've had a few questions on the web or on the channel about it, so I thought we'd cover those. First of all, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this gorgeous wing over here on the back. It's a little dusty right now. The car needs to be washed, but I love it. I think it really enhances the look of the car. I think it makes it look more sporty, makes it look more sleek. Now, this is an OEM wing. I did get this from Honda. So the good thing about that is that it fits right. It comes with a pattern so that you don't screw up the holes because, yeah, you do have to drill to put this thing in. Now, I'm going to show you a real quick montage snippet of the install right here, so you can see what you're getting into if you decide to do this. Now, as you can see, you do have to drill the hood, and that probably is the most daunting part of the whole install. It's not bad if you follow the directions, make sure that you've got everything lined up properly, and I would measure, 10, 15, 20 times, maybe sit the wing up there, make sure that it looks like it's in the right spot. That's what I did. Numerous times after I had that pattern set and then the holes marked, before I drilled, I would sit the wing up there to make sure that it looks right, like it's straight, in the right position, that it fits, all that good stuff. Now, a couple things about the wing itself. Pretty darn high quality part, as you would expect. It is an OEM part. You can have it pre-painted or not before you get it. In other words, to match the color of the car, or maybe, and I thought about this myself, going with an accent or an offset color. I thought about going black. As you can see, I decided not to do that. Color match is dead on. Again, it's an OEM part, so Honda's going to provide something that matches their color, something that you may not get if you decide to go with an aftermarket part. Now, as far as how it affects the trunk itself, it does come with a heavier duty spring, they call it, because it adds weight to the trunk itself. Now, when the trunk is up, obviously you don't have any issue, right? I mean, it's up, you're not going to have any problems. Where you're going to run into a difference is when you get to about right in here, it's going to want to shut. Now, it's not horrible. I mean, don't get me wrong. It doesn't weigh a ton. Oh, by the way, little touch, says Civic right under here. One of those little things I just think is pretty cool. Now, while I've got it like this, one other thing I want to show you. To fasten it down, it does bolt on or screw on under these plates. There's one on each side. They just kind of snap in there and are honestly held in with a double-sided tape. No issues with those. They're staying in there well. Nothing's coming out. Again, a good reason to go with OEM stuff. They're always designed well. Now, you do have to remove this cover underneath. It's not a big deal. It just pops off. You just have to make sure that you take it off gently so you don't actually break anything. Now, that spring I was talking about, I did not install on mine. It actually replaces this one right here. Looked to me like it was probably more trouble than it was worth, especially given that the trunk stays up by itself anyway. Now, I suppose if you were in high wind, coming across the car, putting a lot of pressure on it, maybe it would be more prone to slam down, I don't know. But it's definitely not going to shut the way that it is and, cut your arm off or anything if you're inside the trunk for some reason. As far as shutting it, the usual, that's it. Now, one thing I will mention, this as opposed to other wings that I've had, I did put a Type R wing on a Honda Civic hatchback that I had a few years ago, and that wing moved. In other words, when you were going down the road, it was too thin, I think, the material, and you could actually see it moving a little bit in the wind. I Don't notice that in this one at all. It's nice and solid and tight. No issues with movement or anything crazy. Now, one other thing before we get to what the benefits to having this are, the tightness of it. As I mentioned with the wind, it doesn't really move at all. I mean, I suppose there's going to be a little bit of flexing in it. You can see there, it is a long plastic part, right? But where it's connected in, no movement at all. Nice and sturdy. Now, let's talk about what does it do for you? You know, I've had questions, as I mentioned. People have asked me, does it do anything with respect to fuel economy? You know, it's kind of like the old myth with trucks. If you take the tailgate off, somehow you're going to have better airflow and you get better fuel economy. You know, if you put the tailgate down or remove it altogether. I haven't noticed anything. The fuel economy has remained the same. It gets awesome fuel economy anyway. I'm getting over 31 miles per gallon in this car. But I haven't noticed since I put the wing on that it's increased. So I wouldn't say there is any increase when it comes to fuel economy. As far as performance goes, you know, the purpose of a spoiler is to change the aerodynamics of the car, the way the air flows over the car, downforce, all that kind of stuff. You're not going to notice that with this spoiler. I mean, unless you're tracking the car, you've changed the engine, you're doing like 180 mile an hour, those things don't really come into play. You know, they're designed to hold cars down or change the aerodynamics of the car based on high speed. You're not going to get that with a normal Honda Civic. I mean, it's going to top out at just a bit over 100, I believe. I haven't checked, but the top speed on it is low enough that a wing with performance in mind isn't going to come into play at all. The real value of it, in my opinion, is the aesthetics, the way that it looks on the car. Again, I think it looks awesome. I think it adds just a sporty look to the car, and I would do it every time. I'm a big wing fan anyway. I've put wings or spoilers on other cars. I think they look really good. Now, a rear view, one thing I really haven't shown you, I guess. We need more video of just the wing, right? Not me. You can see there, flows in there nicely. It's not overstated. You know, I've seen some spoilers or wings that people have put on Hondas particularly that are way overdone. You don't want to go nuts. I mean, if you've got a wing that stands 3 feet off the car, now, there's nothing wrong with it if you like it, but that's not my preference. I want something that's more integrated and sleek and looks like it should be on the car. And what better way to go than an OEM version, right? Anyway, I just wanted to get on, kind of talk about that a little bit. How is the wing doing? What does it really add? It makes the car look better. Leave a comment if you've done this mod before, be it aftermarket or OEM. How did you find the install and did you get it right? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma, and Rob Motive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.